Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and yesterday was the second Super Saturday of 2017, and that was a lot of S noises. That was a very sibilant intro. Okay, yes, so, of the three countries that picked their song yesterday, my sources tell me that the song that was chosen first of the three belongs to Moldova. I could be wrong. I'm fairly sure I've got the order right. This is the order that they've put on Eurovision.tv. I've asked some witnesses. I think it's the right order. So, Moldova, who have you chosen? Well, it is Sergey Yalovitsky, Anton Ragoza, and the so-called epic Sax Guy himself, Sergey Stepanov, who, to you and me, we know a bit better as the famously infamous SunStroke Project. And this time their song is called Hey Mama, with at least two M's in the middle, maybe three if you count the one at the beginning. Mama, with an exclamation mark no less, although some sources don't spell it with the exclamation mark. Anyway, it's in the language of saxophone and English, so no translation needed. Music and lyrics by SunStroke Project and Alina Galetskaya, as far as my sources tell me. So, it's been a while. We've last seen them representing their country in 2010, and what do I think of their song? Well, tune! Welcome back to the contest, Moldova. Okay, maybe that's a little bit of a harsh opener, but because honestly, I've loved all of Moldova's entries since their debut in 2005. Okay, maybe I didn't like their 2006 entry so much, but that's all in the past. So, wowity wow wowza. Moldova had, up until now, made something of a name for themselves as the fun little oddball country that kind of does their own thing when it comes to Eurovision, and their own thing was usually wacky and weird and wonderful in some way or another. And I mean that's a good thing, it makes them stand out. They do their own thing in a good way. This year, they're doing something as completely different as always, and for the first time since 2013, that's totally resonating with the people of Europe. And I respect them for not just relying on SunStroke Project's name, or the fact that we've recognised them, or the fact that they've got Epic Sax Guy, who was a meme. They've completely earned their spot in Kiev. They've not just bought their way in by saying, oh, hey, people, remember our song. So, allow me to explain why I feel that way. We shall begin, as always, with the positives of the song. What do I like about it? Well, good freaking lord, this one is catchy. For better or for worse, this year has been dubbed by fans as the year where every song is a ballad, including the ones that aren't ballads. To those people, I say this. Try not to sprain yourself too hard with the mental gymnastics required to convince me that this is a ballad. No, indeed, it's an infectious, upbeat 3 minutes of pure fun and delight, and you know what? This song puts me in such a good mood that I'll count that as a separate good point. Not only is the hook catchy and memorable and dance-worthy, etc., but it's also, as a whole, the song is so immensely feel-good. And that's kind of a jargony term these days, but it's good feeling inspire. It's a fun song that inspires fun. On my very first listen of this song, it had me smiling in less than a minute. I wanted to clap along to it, which is like a really cheesy thing that they only really do in like talk shows in the middle of the day. But still, it was clap-worthy. With the right staging, this song could get all of Europe and Australia and any other country that happens to be watching on their feet and dancing. Maybe not quite like that, but dancing. And so to circle back to something that I said at the top of this section of the review, it's memorable. The saxophone hook sticks in your head. The vocal hook, the mama bit, that sticks in your head. And its tempo and genre help it to stand out and stick in your head. And it knows when to stop as well, which is definitely worthy of respect, because it knows, as an entity, as a group and as a song, there is this awareness that if it's that memorable, then if it hangs around for too long, it might get annoying, because you're like, oh, hey, we're into the 5th minute of the same tune, I remember this from 5 minutes ago. So it does have the decency to cut itself off before that happens. And so it's clever, it's conscious, and it's one hell of a power play from Moldova, so good on you. That said, though, each one of my reviews has a negative section, and so let's get that out of the way, shall we? I'll start with something kind of petty. In the national final, towards the end, one of them does that thing. You know, that thing. Something to the effect of, come on, everybody, put your hands up, or something like that. I don't know the exact words, I don't remember. But maybe it's just me, and my mother, she feels this way as well. But I find that to be supremely cringeworthy. Maybe it's because it makes the song sound a little more like a performance at a kid's holiday resort rather than a Eurovision performance. Maybe it's because it breaks the fourth wall and ruins the immersion, I'm not sure. Either way, I hope they don't do that in Kiev. On a slightly more boring note, the singer's diction at the national final isn't that great. Aside from the refrain, it is rather difficult to pick up on what he's saying. In the grand scheme of things, with this type of music, lyrics are only a means to an end. They're just there to be a tune that you can sing along to without feeling weird and scat singing, I guess. So it doesn't matter all that much, but hey, I do pride myself on having balanced reviews, so negative point. Similarly, from what I can make out of the lyrics, the wording itself is kind of meh. Once again, that's not a huge deal for this type of song. I mean, look at their entry from 2010. There's no other time to making happiness. You have mistaken. We have no progressive future. I know your lying nature. They can do fine with nonsense lyrics. It ain't no thing. But still, it is something for me to dwell on for all of about 20 or 30 seconds of screen time in this review, I suppose. But that's about it. So how do I rate this song, then? So, my personal score, first of all. After plenty of deliberation, 10. Perhaps it's something of a vapid decision on my part, but I find this song to be immense fun. It's been a long time since I last heard a song that compels me to just get up and dance quite like this one did, and that's something I didn't even know I needed in my life. It's an absolute delight to listen to, and I imagine that it's probably going to enjoy a spot on my top 10 most played list for quite some time hereafter. I concede that it's not the perfect song, and some people might not be too fond of the genre, some people might be really irritated by it, I don't know, but as far as I'm concerned, it's absolute fire, and I shall praise it as such. So, on that note, technical score out of 10. Okay, I'll dial it back a bit, 9. Though, that would be more of a 9.5 if this scale did halves, and it doesn't, so 9. Realistically, there's nothing objectively wrong with the song as far as I can tell. It doesn't just typify the genre, it does everything and more to be its own entity within that genre that impresses and entertains. SunStroke Project deserve some credit for demonstrating that the song can be performed live just as well as in the studio version, whether or not they have the vocal effects on the "she'll be back until sunrise" part. It's a versatile song, and it's done very well. They are showing it off in all the right ways. My only concern, really, is that the lyrics, though, as I said, completely superfluous in this case, they are a bit rough around the edges. I'm not going to deny that. And if that can count against other songs this year, then it's only fair that I bring it up here and now as well. I do worry a little as well about how they might stage it in Kiev, but if their national final performance is to be used as a baseline to judge it on, then they should be fine. So, compared to Moldova's previous entry, in theory, this should be an easy decision, and I will agree, this year is an improvement over their song from 2016, but that decision is much harder for me than it is for most people, because, yeah, Hey Mama is great fun, and it shows Moldova is back on top of their game after a bit of a slump in the results department lately. And I respect the song so much because it's so modern and catchy and fun and all these words that I've said so many times already. But I did also really love Falling Stars. I still do. That song made me feel things, but that was more nostalgia rather than like a visceral, physical get up and dance kind of thing. That it was a different kind of feeling that it made me feel, but it made me feel feelings anyway. So, yeah, Falling Stars was a good song, performed well by a lovely individual, but SunStroke Project has her beaten in every feasible capacity. They've got the audience eating out of the palm of their collective hand because they only have one hand between the group of them. And we love it. I could see it charting in the UK, for instance, and for a Eurovision song, especially one from Eastern Europe, that would be one hell of an achievement. The UK public are a tough crowd, to say the least. So, having slathered all that praise all over Moldova, what was that? Do I think it'll make it to the final? Absolutely, positively, without a doubt, almost definitely. I want to have the faith to say that this is a guaranteed finalist, and in all likelihood, it is. I only hesitate because last year taught us that nothing is carved in stone at Eurovision. Like, you know, Iceland didn't qualify, San Marino came 12th, black is east, up is white, you know, anything could happen. So, I want to say it's a guaranteed qualifier, but, I don't know, the juries might try to pull the plug on this one, you never know. I doubt it, because it's well executed and incredibly marketable. But you never know what's going to happen. It is practically a given that it will qualify, of course, since it's such a hit with the public, and rightly so. It's just worth bearing in mind that nothing matters at all. Nothing counts for anything until the second the phone lines open, and that is when it all comes together. So, for now, things are looking good for Moldova. So, in short, there is a chance it might not qualify, but that's a very, very narrow chance. So I'm not too worried about this one. Good on you, Moldova. So, yeah, SunStroke Project, good luck to you, and we will see you when you hit the stage with style and aplomb in Kiev. Good luck.